Hello and welcome to How I Built Bits, where every week I give you a cool tool, tip, or trick to help you be a better creator in 6 minutes or less. Clock's ticking, so let's get to it. One of my favorite things to do is easily automate input and idea capture from my Stream Deck. I've got 2 Stream Decks and a Stream Deck pedal, and so I try to put as many things on that as possible. And I have greatly improved my process for creating social media content in a centralized place with the Stream Deck automation I'm going to tell you about today. Now, I will say, right, that this is very tutorial-esque, and I will link to a written article with screenshots in the show notes for this episode. It should be in the description below, but let's walk through this a little bit. So the basic workflow is, and I should tell you the goal before. The goal is for me to push a button on my Stream Deck and then a Google Doc gets created in a very specific folder, and it has to be this specific folder. So, okay, let's go through the workflow. Step 1, create a Google Doc in a folder called Social Posts. Number 2, kick off a make automation that watches that folder and adds a new entry to my Airtable base called social media content automatically. And then pick a schedule date that I can change. It's usually based on the previous post, like the previous entry and the date there, but it doesn't always work out. I don't like to post on weekends. I need to improve that logic. But that's the basic 2-step process. Create a Google Doc in a folder called Social Posts, and then create a make automation that watches that folder and adds that Google Doc to an Airtable base. Now, the reason I want it in an Airtable base is because my VA goes in and reviews the document, creates any images or carousels as needed, and posts them to the social media platforms on the scheduled date. Now, I say social media platforms here. Right now, mine is very focused on LinkedIn. I have her post those LinkedIn carousels to Instagram sometimes, but I'm pretty focused on LinkedIn. But this works for whatever, right? Whatever you're using a Google Doc for, you can use this automation for. So let's talk about building the Google Doc URL, because to make this even easier, I wanted to create a Stream Deck button to open a new document in that Google Drive folder. The subtext here being that I have this sort of automations for all of the things I want to quickly capture: ideas, notes, journal, thoughts, and things like that. So when I'm capturing notes, I don't want them to go into this one big place. I want them to go to the appropriate place. It turns out you can create a new file in a specific folder via the Google Docs URL. The format, again, which you can find in the linked article in the description, is docs.google.com/document/create, etc. But then the last thing you tack on is folder equals folder ID, and you can get the folder ID from the URL in that folder. So I have a screenshot in the article where you can find that folder ID. So when I create the Stream Deck button, I have my URL, and you can easily launch any URL with the Stream Deck thanks to the website action. So you select the website action, put it on the Stream Deck button of your choice, and then paste the URL you just created based on the format I provide in this article with the folder ID. Now, whenever inspiration strikes, I push that button and start writing. And I'll tell you, this process is the same for my content flywheel. So my short podcast episodes also start here in this same folder. But I know what you might be thinking. What about when you're not at your Stream Deck? And sadly, because the Google Docs team apparently hates iOS, there is no native shortcut for Docs. And when you open that URL on mobile, it throws an error, right? There is a Safari shortcut where you can open a URL, but the last time I tried it, it threw an error. Maybe I'll try revisiting that again in the near future. So instead, what I do is dictate a new document using Drafts. Then Drafts has an action to save to Google Drive. It's not perfect, but it works for now. So there you have it. There's how I am making social media content a lot easier for myself, putting it in a centralized place, moving it to Airtable, and being able to quickly capture it with my Stream Deck. If you want even more tutorials on automation, if you want exclusive videos and behind the scenes content, you can become a member of How I Built It Pro over at howibuilt.it/pro. For just $5 a month or $50 a year, you get ad-free extended episodes of all of my podcasts, and you also get a weekly newsletter on Fridays for members only. Again, that's howibuilt.it/pro. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, get out there and build something.